Hey there everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video we're going to be talking about a topic that I think is very interesting and I often think about this. As you can tell by the title of the video, I'm going to be talking about some advice that I'd give my younger self, now knowing with perspective what I know today. But before we get into that, I do want to explain what I'm doing on screen so you can get a little bit of context. So I had this page of studies where I was doing some studies. I kind of left it halfway through the spread, so I wanted to finish up the spread today, and you just have a sketch session for you to watch. I am doing this, obviously there's studies, I'm using references from Pinterest as you can see on screen, and yeah. So getting into the advice, so this is only going to be regarding art, and these are things that throughout the years I've thought about and I would really go back and redo. So yeah, let's get into it. So the first advice I would tell my younger self is to not let others stop me from doing art. So this has some context behind it, right? So when I was in high school, I decided to go to an art program, and I was in that art program for about a month and I couldn't do it anymore. I realized at that time that I couldn't draw in command. Like, drawing what other people wanted me to draw killed my creativity, and it was something that I just dreaded, and art class was the worst part of it and I really didn't like it. Now looking back, I probably should have stayed, but my real struggle here was that I decided to leave and I went to sciences. So one thing that I did in the beginning was I sketched a lot. So I was in class and I was always sketching, drawing, doodling, anything. It's something that always helped me concentrate, and of 12 teachers, only one understood that that was something that helped me. None of the others did. And my math teacher in particular, she made my life a living hell. She literally would make my grades become lower if I was in between grades because I doodled in class. And this was not bothering her class in any way. I was still paying attention. I was still doing the exercise, homework, everything. It still wasn't enough for her. So I stopped doing art because I was so frustrated that no matter how hard I tried, no matter the grades I got, she would lower my grade, and I stopped drawing for an entire year. And I only draw it again in my last day of school in her class. Last day of school, she was like literally talking with another student and she didn't give a shit. It was like everyone was doing a lot of things. There were people on their phones and whatever. And in that exact same day, she was like, "This is why you have bad grades. You're always drawing." It was the first drawing of the year. So yeah, I stopped drawing. It kind of killed like my creative soul, and it was stupid. This is why I say this would be my first advice, because I should have never stopped drawing. I should have drawn at home. I should have put in the time and effort at home, but there were so many other factors. I just let it slip, and it's something that was always part of my life. I always had a sketchbook with me, always. Wherever I went, either a sketchbook or a book. It was one of the two, and it's something that I let other people rob me from it, and a lot of my progress, a lot of things that I could have learned and explored, I didn't do those in my high school years, and I could have had so much fun with art. And instead, I only started doing it in university, and the workflow was a lot higher at that point, and it wasn't as easy to do. So that's definitely one of my main regrets, was allowing that teacher to completely affect my art, my escape, my only way of dealing with things. I really, really resent that. So for number 2, it's kind of related to number 1. So I would advise my younger self to start taking art more seriously. And what I mean by this is to start practicing and learning more. I would tell my younger self to learn techniques, to learn the basics, to learn color theory, for fuck's sake, to practice with color, to practice with mediums, to learn how to draw this, how to draw that, practice body shapes, just learn the basics and the structure of a drawing, and then move forward from that. And related to this topic is number 3, which is practice, which I'd basically tell my younger self to practice more, to draw more. I would draw once in a while, and I'm still like that to this day, and this is advice that I would give myself right now in this moment, which is practice as much as you can. You have 5 minutes, draw. You have 20, draw. You have an hour commute, draw. Just draw as much as you can. Practice with intention, but just practice. So that's something that to this day I still have to like get better at, but definitely something I would tell my younger self. Number 4 would be to not compare myself to others and be proud of what I have accomplished so far. This is something I believe every artist struggles, and it's kind of a lifelong struggle. I think it's something that will take a while to go away, to pass, but I feel like I would allow myself to compare to other people and feel like so diminished in my artwork, and that would stop me from doing so much more and to show my art and to showcase my art and everything. So me being more proud of what I've accomplished and be more forgiving of myself and more comprehensive of like, this is as much as you've gotten right now, but these artists that you're comparing yourself to, they got there the same way as you will get there. So just take your time and again, practice. Number 5 would be don't be embarrassed of my own art. So I would basically tell my younger self to stop being embarrassed with your own art. Be proud of what you have accomplished. Again, related to the previous advice, but share your art with people. Tell them, like, show them. Share your sketchbook. Don't be embarrassed. You can do something that a lot of people can't. And yeah, there's a lot of people who can do even better, but you will get there one day, and you shouldn't be embarrassed of showing it. You shouldn't be embarrassed of saying, hey, I'm an artist. Hey, I draw. Hey, I do this. You should be prouder, and you should scream it to the world and not be shy about everything. I'm a very shy person. It's something that takes a while. I have to put in a lot of effort. I have to make myself get out of my comfort zone to be able to share something so simple that any other person that's not shy would do in a heartbeat. So I guess I would like tackle that part if I were to advise anything to my younger self, which would to be to tackle my shyness a lot earlier. Number 6 is learn how to use freaking colors. Color theory. Again, learn how to use color theory. Learn the basics. Color theory kicks my ass every time. Look, I know the theory behind it. I know, you have colors that work really well together. You have colors that if you match them, they will create a lot of contrast. I know all of that, right? In theory, what I would like to have learned, and this is something I should have done at the time, I should have started a lot earlier than today, would to be how to like mix colors, which colors will look better, how to apply color theory in practice and not just have the theory in your head, And this also stems from the fact that I am a major doodler. I doodle, I sketch, and I draw, and I don't color, I don't paint, none of that. So this advice comes from that place where I know that I never used too many colors in my sketchbooks. It was always pencil or pen. So I would definitely advise my younger self to start working with colors, start working with color theory, and start practicing and learning more about that. Number 7, draw outside with people and don't be shy. Again, these are all related to each other, but basically I still struggle with this to this day, so some of these are still applicable. That's why I would tell them to my younger self so I wouldn't have to struggle with it right now. But I have a hard time drawing when I'm out and about with people. So if I go to a coffee shop with friends, I have a hard time sketching. And I know that I'll listen even better if I'm sketching to them. But I feel like it's rude. I have this ingrained thing in my head, which is like, it's rude because you're not listening to them with your undivided attention. So it's not very normalized, and I'm the artist friend. I don't have artist friends, so being able to doodle and sketch and do all of that would be amazing. Like when I go to coffee shops or when I go to a restaurant and we're just hanging up, like, I don't know, if we're just hanging out, I would have loved to be able to just draw. I always have my sketchbook with me. I'll take it out. I even get the pencil, but I can never bring myself to draw because I am like afraid that people are gonna take me wrong because of that. So I always prevent myself from doing so. This is also included the like drawing from the real life, drawing from people watching and drawing from that. Like it also includes that. Just being a person drawing outside is also something I should have gotten a bit more comfortable with. So number 8, don't just mindlessly draw, put some intention behind your drawings. This is something I did my entire life, was just draw whatever I felt like it. Just draw, girls and stuff like that, but never to the point where I was intending to be better. I was intending to get the facial features better, or how do I like shade this better, or how do I do this better, how do I practice this hair, how do I do this, how do I do that, right? So I would advise my younger self to like draw whatever you want, doodle whatever you want, but put some intention behind it. I'm gonna draw a girl, but I'm gonna focus on making her eyes look really good. Even if the rest is shit, right? I'm still improving on the eyes. Like, just put some intention behind it. And this is a lesson that I learned even rather recently in the past few years, which, like, putting intention behind sketching instead of mindlessly drawing, which I did a lot. And now I try my best to put intention behind my drawings. I don't always do it correctly, but I try my best to do so. And this is something I would love to have told my younger self, so she could have started doing this a lot sooner. So the 9th piece of advice I would give my younger self would be to try digital art a lot sooner. I heard about digital art when I was really a lot younger. When I was still in like early high school, I think I heard that there was this pad and you can use it to draw on your computer, and that's awesome, but I didn't even have a computer, and it was never something I looked into it too much, and I just figured people were using Paint. If you know what Microsoft Paint is, like, I just figured people were using that, and I never got too much into that. And I think it's also due to exposure. Like, I wasn't exposed to that much digital art at the time. I don't mean this to my very, very younger self, but my younger self, like a few years ago, like early university, instead of thinking that digital art is this thing that's going to be too easy and it's kind of cheating, which I've blatantly talked about this concept that I had in my mind a few years ago in previous videos, but this construct I had kind of prevented me from trying digital art, and now I'm struggling and it kicks my ass, and I could have had years of improvement in the row, and instead I didn't. And it's art that I genuinely like. There are certain things that I would like to do with only digital art that I don't want to do with traditional, so I would love to have been doing that. Finally, but not least, the 10th piece of advice that I'd give myself, my younger self, would be to start social media earlier and take it seriously. I started my social media accounts in university already, and it was late. I was really shy about it. I didn't share it with the people that were closest to me. It took me a year to share it with closer friends. Like I said, I'm shy. So I guess the advice I'd give my younger self would be to like just have an Instagram account and just share art. All the art that you have, all the doodles that you do, whatever it was, just share it. Get into social media earlier. I think I'd be a lot further along in social media if I had started earlier, because I feel like I got especially Instagram, I got Instagram algorithm really, really late, and like the really bad one. And I think I could have had a bit more success. This is not to say like, oh, I'd be famous. That's not what I mean when I say success. But I feel a community of artists now, right? I feel connected to artists online. I consume only art on Instagram. I think I got my personal Instagram account this late last year. That's when I started using my personal account. I literally only use art account, and I would only follow artists for years, and it made me feel a lot more connected to other people, and I would reach a bigger audience, and I would be further along in this objective that I have with social media. But also would have a community to rely on, and would have people that I could rely on. So we are done with the amount of advice that I had for my younger self. Let me know what you tell your younger selves to do. What would be your piece of advice for your younger self, whether it's high school self, whether it's really childhood self, or university self? What would be the art advice you'd give to your younger self today? What would you tell them to do? Let me know in the comments down below. Let me know if you'd use any of the advice that I spoke today. And yeah, if you like this type of content, like the video to let me know. And subscribe if you want to see more content coming from moi. And if there's any kind of topic that you'd like me to talk about, let me know. All my social links will be down below, so make sure to follow those. And I will see you guys on next week's video. Bye!